Good morning, evening, afternoon, night, wherever in the world you may be, ladies and gentlemen. How are y'all doing today? Well, I've been better. I've been worse. Uh, I'm just sitting over here right now at the pilot here in East St. Louis, Illinois, waiting for a load. Brought a load in, the split in the little drop yard right across road there, and of course they had a Prius sign, good Prius sign. And yeah, I definitely need the miles. However, by the time I got over here to the drop yard, and I told him I was going to be over here by like noon. Well, unfortunately, that wasn't good enough for them. So of course they pulled the Prius sign due to reevaluation. And I'm not aggravated with that. Not as much as some people would. Oh my Lord. But I'm just sitting here waiting for them to figure out if they got something for me to run right now, or what in the heck ever they're doing. Man, it is chilly as all get out there. Whew. And here I am in a damn sleeveless shirt here, in shorts. You'd figure I've learned my lesson from being up here. Figured I'd be warm. Dress accordingly. Yeah, that's what happens whenever you're from southern Mississippi and everything, where it usually doesn't get this freaking cold. But I was sitting on there and I was watching something from 4 days ago. A driver uploaded a video about, parking on the shoulder of a ramp or whatnot, and said that I think he said a sheriff had came up to him, knocked on his door, asked him what he was doing. He used a little deal about the being out of time, pretty much, and that's the reason why he was sitting on the shoulder. And with some of these customers that we deal with, they have appointment time set up or whatnot. Sometimes they have them in the middle of the night. And if you're making a delivery in the middle of the night, but you're at the very end of your 14-hour by the time everything's said and done, and then you're trying to get over there, hurry up and find safe haven or whatnot, all the big name truck stops, the rest areas, stuff's going to be full. And it's a lot harder to find a place to park or whatnot in the middle of the night. And I see his point about the no parking signs, but then again, there should be a way that we should be able to find safe haven. We should be allowed to drive. I mean, even if it's past our 14 or whatnot, yeah, we should be able to drive to get somewhere legal to park. However, it's like like yesterday, an old truck stop that I'm familiar with down in Muskogee, Oklahoma. It's an old Shell station right there by Indian Nation Casino. I was going to sit there and wait to more or less for the time to get closer for me to make it over to pick this previous load up. And I got down there and I realized they got concrete barriers all the way around. They no longer allow truck parking in there. I don't know what they were doing. I mean, yeah, I remember the last time I pulled in there was a hole the freaking is so damn bad off in the middle of it that you took a chance of more or less rolling your equipment in there coming in, or hell, even getting stuck right in the middle of it, damaging your truck, your tires, whatnot. Uh, but looking for truck parking and stuff is a lot harder. Legal truck parking is a lot harder to find nowadays in a lot of places, because everybody's looking for, Loves, TAs, Petros, Pilots, Flying J's. What else are they looking for? The real big name truck stops nonstop. And yes, there are some people out there that need to be parked in a what they consider a well lit area or whatnot, in case somebody tries to burglarize them or whatnot. They got all them people around and stuff like that. See, I usually don't stay in truck stops. I'm not much of a truck stop bandit myself. Usually hit up rest areas, parking areas. I mean, there's been times that I've literally stopped in way stations that have been closed, and that's like a last resort type thing right there. Mom and pop truck stops, they're all good. And for anybody out there that's, whether you're new or you're an old driver and it's a new area that you're going to, always be sure to stop by one of these big name truck stops. Get a truck stop guide. Those books are more accurate than apps like Trucker's Path, because the way Trucker's Path works, of course, it's got to be done up. People like using that app. The only bad thing is, if nobody updates the parking or the fuel prices or anything like that, and it says, well, it's got a lot of parking, you get over there, it's completely full, then you're going to screw yourself up, So always go out and get truck stop guides and everything, to where you'll be ahead of the game that much. And you don't have to worry about looking it up on their devices, just in case something like that were to happen and people are not updating what they need to update. The parking thing, though, that driver was talking about, is a lot of times these customers, they won't allow you to park on their property, and they say, once you're done loading or whatnot, or done unloading, you need to leave. You can't park on the street. You don't want to put yourself in the way of somebody else trying to get into that door or trying to get it in and out of the facility. So you got to hurry up. You got to rush through everything, put in your information, and it becomes. It's kind of like all the stuff that we got to do over here on the Qualcomm, where I'm at right now. And this is not talking down on the company which I pull for. This is just simply as much as they got us doing right there on the Qualcomm, and trying to rush, trying to get places and everything. It becomes a good bit. And if any of you out there are like me, that whenever you're getting loaded or unloaded or whatnot, I can't sleep through that. I don't care how many hours I've been awake. I don't care how long it takes them to load or unload. I cannot sleep knowing that at any time, whether like the last facility, I had to stay awake to keep my eye on the light for whenever it turned green to go and get my paperwork. Or, you'd be out there in your truck, you'll be just ready to doze off, and you get that awful freaking, just that, you get that on the side of your dang truck, and you jump up ready to kill somebody, you know what I mean? It startles you and everything so bad. But I can't sleep knowing that right there is going on. And so with that driver more or less parking on the shoulder, being out of time or whatnot, yeah, the ELDs, they do have their good points, but they also have their bad points. And you know, yeah, being out of time is one thing. Now over here, I mean, you can't be under a load, you can't be assigned a load in order to use like personal drive time to where you can get to safe haven, and that becomes a bit of a hassle right there. I mean, it you have to jump through hurdles, or jump through hoops and over hurdles. Make sure I get that right. Just to get personal drive time or something like that. And then, yeah, if you end up going over, then you got to talk to several different people in the office or whatnot to get your logs correct. Now, if I'm not badly mistaken, and if anybody knows anything about the safe haven rule past the 14, I really do need to look into that right there, to where I can have all of my facts straight. But I'm thinking that there is something where if they do run you past your 14 hour, that you can still more or less find safe haven. You should be allowed to drive to get to safe haven. And there has been times that I've done the same thing that he's done. But just jumping through those hoops and over hurdles to get personal drive time, and then taking a chance on getting tickets and stuff, it becomes costly. And you constantly hear everybody talking about plan your trip. It doesn't matter how much you plan your trip, things tend to go wrong all the time out here on the road. Now, that being said, I'm the type of person, I don't plan exactly how far I'm going to be able to get, or where exactly I'm going to be able to stop. Because I'm more or less watching my time, and I'll usually, depending on where it is or how far I got to drive, and how much sleep I've had, whatnot, make sure I'm not fatigued driving. That's the other thing that becomes a safety hazard past the 14 hour sometimes too. But crap, what was I just talking about? Dang it, I just asked for it. Just literally lost my line of thought on that one right there. But it seems like it's getting harder. Oh, I remember now. On all my time, if I've got a long distance to go or whatnot, I'll usually drive as much of that out as possible. I'll get it down to where that thing's hollering, you got 1 hour, and then all of a sudden I'm looking for safe haven right then and there. Always save that last hour for safe haven. But whenever I find out, more or less, if there is a rule out there about safe haven on the deal there, then I'll more or less inform you on the information that I've got. I mean, it's there are good points, there are bad points, but no matter what's going on out there, always stay in contact with your people and everything. It doesn't matter if it's more or less a you know, you got to stop in the middle of a run, and they tell you got to run a certain amount of mileage or whatnot before you stop. And